I told him that Chelsea was a vulnerable person.
Tonight, the mother of Chelsea Poorman responds to the news of the Police Complaints Commission investigating Vancouver police officers for neglect of duty.
We just want to make sure that those things are looked after in a sustainable way.
Reaction to the proposed construction of a massive AI data center in the Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation in Alberta.
A place of being happier, a place of growth, a place of self-acceptance.
And an Indigenous artist is gearing up for his first headlining tour across Canada. Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. We begin in British Columbia, where the Office of the Police Complaints Commission is investigating Vancouver police officers for neglect of duty in the case of a missing Indigenous woman who was later found deceased. APTN's Tina House has the story.
It was in early September of 2020 that Chelsea Poorman and her sister Paige decided to go out for a few drinks in Vancouver. Chelsea had just moved to the city to join her sister and their mother from Saskatchewan a few weeks earlier and didn't know anyone else in Vancouver. That night, the sisters became separated on Granville Street and Chelsea went missing. Family and advocates spent hours searching for her, putting up posters, and her mother, Sheila, filed a missing persons report with Vancouver police. But Sheila says they did not treat her daughter's disappearance seriously at first.
The way that the police officers didn't do a diligent job investigating at first, like the things that they were missing, the way that they treated me and my daughters. Like they didn't do a news press release right away. They didn't put Chelsea's picture up on the missing persons report. The fact that they didn't except the fact that I told him that Chelsea was a vulnerable person.
Poorman also says police did not request to view surveillance videos from surrounding businesses where Chelsea was last seen for weeks, and when they finally did, the videos had been erased or recorded over. She claims it also took the police 11 days to finally put up her picture and 3 months for them to accept Chelsea was a vulnerable person, and then they finally got the homicide unit involved. Sheila filed a complaint with the Office of Police Complaints Commission in 2021. Andrea Spindler is the Deputy Commissioner for the OPCC.
To ensure that there was an arm's length investigation into the matter. At this point in time, New Westminster Police have been tasked with carrying out in this investigation. Our office has been providing civilian oversight of that investigation. And in addition, the OPCC determined that it was in the public interest to appoint a retired judge to review the investigation once it has been completed.
Spindler says if the officers involved are found to have neglected their duty, they could be given various penalties, such as suspension without pay, retraining, and potentially being fired. Criminal charges could also be recommended against officers in some cases. In May of 2022, Chelsea Poorman's body was found at the back of this abandoned mansion in an affluent neighborhood on Vancouver's west side. The property has since been put up for sale. Vancouver police have ruled her death not suspicious, but have kept her case open. Her mother says she doesn't agree with that and says her daughter's disappearance and death is highly suspicious. She says Chelsea was disabled. She walked with a limp and could not extend her arm fully due to a car accident. She's grateful for the OPCC investigating, but still struggles every day with the loss of her daughter.
It's taken a huge toll on myself and my daughters, mentally. Just not knowing what happened, just not, having no information, there's still no closure to her case as to what happened.
If you have any information about the case of Chelsea Poorman, you're asked to contact Crime Stoppers or the police. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
To Saskatchewan now, where 2 people will be sentenced tomorrow for their role in the homicide of Megan Gallagher. Gallagher went missing from Saskatoon in 2020. Her remains were found 2 years later, along the South Saskatchewan River near the town of St. Louis. 9 people were arrested and charged in connection with her death. APTN's Rachel May has a recap of what's happened so far.
Of the 9 people charged with various offenses in this case, 7 have already been tried. 2 of them are scheduled to be sentenced on January 22nd. There are 2 more people still facing trial later this year. John Sanderson, Jessica Badger, and Ernest Whitehead pled guilty to indignity to human remains in March 2023. They received sentences between 18 months and 3 years in jail. Charges of unlawful confinement and aggravated assault against Robin Tyler John were stayed in September 2023. Robert Thomas was convicted of second-degree murder December 6, 2024, and sentenced to life with no chance of parole for 18 years. Cheyenne Petitus and Summer Sky Henry pled guilty to manslaughter January 16th. They are set to be sentenced tomorrow in Saskatoon. Roderick Sutherland faces a first-degree murder trial March 31st, and Thomas Sutherland faces a manslaughter trial April 28th. A publication ban on the details of Gallagher's death is in effect to ensure a fair trial. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
A man from the Sweetgrass First Nation in Saskatchewan has been arrested in connection with the murders of a father and 2 sons who were shot and killed in Lloydminster last September. On Wednesday, September 11th, just before 6 p.m., Lloydminster RCMP were called to a home in the city for a well-being check. When they arrived, they found 3 bodies: 66-year-old Brent Peters and his sons, 32-year-old Matthew Peters and 34-year-old Brennan Peters. Last Saturday, January 18th, Alberta RCMP Major Crimes charged 31-year-old Nakota Rain Puyak with 3 counts of second-degree murder. According to media reports, Puyak was serving time on unrelated charges in the Saskatoon Correctional Centre when he was arrested. Puyak made his first court appearance on Monday in Lloydminster. His next appearance is set for February 20th. Puyak has had a history of violent offenses related to gang involvement, including stabbing and almost killing a man in Little Pine First Nation in 2016. Now to the Liberal leadership race, and 4 high-profile Liberal MPs announced their support for Mark Carney's bid. Indigenous Services Minister Patty Hajdu, Northern Affairs Minister Gary Anandasangari, and former Housing Minister Sean Fraser all threw their support behind Carney on social media. Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault also endorsed Carney while speaking to reporters at the Liberal cabinet retreat. Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly and Emergency Preparedness Minister Harjit Sajjan announced their support for Carney earlier this week. Time for a quick break. Still to come, reaction to a proposed mega project on the traditional hunting and trapping territory of a First Nation in Alberta.
It's going to have huge impacts on that area. Like, we won't be able to utilize it ever, right? So in and around that area, surrounding area.
Welcome back. On Monday, APTN reported that the Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation in Alberta is unhappy over not being consulted on the proposed construction of a massive AI data center on their territory. APTN's Chris Stewart spoke with Chief Sheldon Sunshine about the concerns he has with the proposed megaproject.
There's a valley where technology and nature will come together in perfect harmony.
Wealthy businessman Kevin O'Leary's proposed AI data center would, according to their website, provide highly skilled jobs and bolster tax revenue. Wonder Valley would use natural gas and geothermal power to operate a 7.5 gigawatt AI data center. Running AI servers requires a lot of power and land, thousands of acres of land. But Chief Sheldon Sunshine from the Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation 370 kilometers northwest of Edmonton, says the site of Wonder Valley is in their hunting territory that is still used today, and they were not consulted until late in the process.
And I think that consultation process is failing our people. You know, we're contacted pretty much after things are all planned out and then steps are taken, and yet they come to us to minimize the impacts. You know, the impacts, we should be in discussion early on, especially with a project of this magnitude.
Chief Sunshine says their hunting and trapping will be impacted, and the amount of water needed for a project of this size, with 58 buildings, would be huge. A water source they use.
It's going to have huge impacts on that area. Like, we won't be able to utilize it ever, right? So in and around that area, surrounding area, you know, when we hear some of these, the amount of resources that they're talking about taking up, you know, that's going to have significant impacts on my community. You know, that water, it's one of the source waters in our area. So, you know, it's, you know, deep concern.
He wrote a letter to the Alberta government indicating the lack of consultation and asked to respect Treaty 8.
We just want to make sure that those things are looked after in a sustainable way. You know, we've been here for millennia, and we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here. We're going to be living off the land. Hopefully, you know, the cumulative impacts that we've had on our territory are fairly significant, and this is going to be huge on those our way of life.
The Municipal District of Greenview told APTN in an email that they have consulted the First Nation and have followed all regulatory processes from the province. The office of Richard Feehan, the province's Minister of Indigenous Relations, and Kevin O'Leary Ventures have not responded to APTN's request for comment. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
The Toronto Police Department announced today it has made the biggest cocaine bust in the city's history.
In front of me is the culmination of incredible police work and teamwork that resulted in the largest seizure of cocaine in the history of the Toronto Police Service.
The seizure of full 835 kilograms is estimated to have a street value of $83 million. Dubbed Project Castillo, the investigation into drug importation from the United States into Canada also involved York Regional Police, the Canada Border Services Agency, and the RCMP Windsor Border Integrity Unit. Canada is sticking to its promise of increasing border security after U.S. President Donald Trump said his 25% trade tariffs on Canadian goods could kick in on February 1st. The RCMP says they will be patrolling the North Dakota and Manitoba border with a Black Hawk helicopter beginning Sunday. They'll be looking for people illegally entering Canada or the U.S. They're also looking for illicit drug trafficking in and out of Canada. The RCMP is warning residents along the border there will be more activity with these patrols, but there is no cause for any public safety concerns. Time for one last break. Still to come, an Indigenous queen walks away with a prestigious honor.
Don't be shy, take risks, don't be afraid to do the unthinkable, but also like be authentic to yourself.
Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. This from Brandon, Manitoba. Gina Francis shared a great photo of some sundogs during a clear, sunny sky. We thank Francis for Gina for thinking of all of us and sending that in. You can send your photos to share at aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the east coast, minus 11 in Charlottetown, 9 below with snow in Halifax. Minus 23 in flurries in Kuujjuaq, 21 below in Nain. Sunny and minus 12 in Montreal, snow and 14 below in Val-d'Or. Minus 10 with flurries in Sault Ste. Marie, 12 below and snow in North Bay. Snow and minus 13 in Thunder Bay, minus 17 in Sioux Lookout. Minus 23 in God's Lake, 16 below in the Paw. Minus 16 for Winnipeg, minus 17 in Dauphin. 7 below with snow in Regina, minus 10 with snow in Saskatoon. Minus 7 with snow in Meadow Lake, 10 below with snow in Buffalo Narrows. In northern Alberta, minus 6 in High Level, 9 below and snow in Fort Chipewyan. Minus 3 with snow in Edmonton and Red Deer, 0 in flurries in Lethbridge. 4 above in Vancouver, plus 5 in Victoria. Minus 3 and flurries in Prince George, minus 1 and snow in Smithers. 11 below with snow in Old Crow, minus 7 in Whitehorse. Sunny and minus 6 in Yellowknife and Fort Liard. Minus 18 with snow in Sax Harbor, 9 below in Pawlatuck. Minus 24 in Baker Lake, Chesterfield and Whale Cove. 23 below in Resolute, 19 below in Igloo Lake. An artist from the Sandy Lake First Nation in Ontario is gearing up for an Eastern Canada tour. And he's looking to take some aspiring new Indigenous artists along for the ride. Here's Veronica Blackhawk with those details.
Just 2 weeks ago, Asenabe released his new single, Edge of the Earth. The Sandy Lake First Nation member has gone global, playing stages in Germany, the UK, and most recently, Australia, where he spoke with APTN News.
We played the show in Tasmania, which was known before, known as Lutruwita.
Ishkade Records discovered the Ojibwe artist in 2020, the first female Indigenous-owned record label in Canada. Now 5 years later, he's gearing up for his first headlining tour at home.
One thing about that tour that I'm also so excited about is like I put a call out recently to find local Indigenous artists, and because we'll be playing some cool stages, like I think it'll just be really cool, especially even for like the local communities to kind of see like the First Nations artists that are even within their own communities.
The Eastern Canada tour begins in early February in Northern Ontario, the area he grew up in, visiting places like Sioux Lookout, Dryden, and Red Lake. He plans to finish on the East Coast. In 2023, Asenabe won 2 Junos for his first EP, Here and Now.
I grew up in a trailer in Northern Ontario without electricity and running water, and now I'm here.
For Songwriter of the Year and Alternative Album of the Year. It was the first time an Indigenous person won these awards. He told APTN News that his songwriting is a reflection on life and growth.
I usually kind of wrote from like this darker place, so to kind of write a song from a place of health, a place of being happier, a place of growth, a place of like self-acceptance.
As someone who got help along the way, Asenabe wants to return the favor. During his upcoming tour, he wants to share the stage with other Indigenous artists.
We've seen that at the Junos this past year, where there was like the most Indigenous artists ever nominated, and I don't think it's not that there's more artists. It's just that there's artists are finally being recognized and being seen, and there's just so many artists that come from so much smaller communities.
His advice for others looking to do the same? Attend music conferences and network. You can purchase tickets for the tour on his website. With APTN News, I'm Veronica Blackhawk.
Asenabe is wicked good live. If he's coming through, you should check that out. Season 5 of Canada's Drag Race has concluded and a winner has been crowned. An Indigenous queen claimed the crown, while another walked away with a cash prize and a title. Video journalist Rachel May spoke with Canada's newest drag superstar about their big win.
The winner of Canada's Drag Race Season 5 is the Virgo Queen!
After defeating 11 other drag performers. Afro-Indigenous drag superstar the Virgo Queen won Season 5 of Canada's Drag Race. Along with the title of Canada's Next Drag Superstar, Virgo claimed a grand prize of $100,000. Virgo's Indigenous heritage is Mi'kmaq from Nova Scotia. For Virgo, winning is not only a personal victory, but also a chance to represent the Afro-Indigenous community on the main stage.
It's a huge honor for sure. Like, I'm really privileged to be able to carry the crown for my community, and I just hope that I can make people proud, and honestly, I'm just thankful to be able to be an inspiration, hopefully.
Virgo hopes that their win can inspire others to take the leap toward their dreams.
Don't be shy, take risks, don't be afraid to do the unthinkable, but also be authentic to yourself, and that's going to always work in your favor.
The final challenge competitors had to face in Canada's Drag Race was to write and record an original debut single. Since winning the competition, Virgo is excited to record more music as well as go on tour. Another Indigenous queen claimed a prestigious title during the finale.
All right, the winner of Season 5's Miss Congeniality is Jaylene Time!
Jaylene Time from Zagami Anishinaabe in Saskatchewan won the title of Miss Congeniality.
I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity to be part of such a stellar cast of humans. It's really important to make sure we create these stages where people can feel free to express themselves. That's our power.
While accepting her award on stage, she wore a dress that honored Every Child Matters. Along with the title of Miss Congeniality, Jaylene took home $10,000. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
Good stuff. Congrats. Well, coming up here right after the news, we sit down with singer-songwriter Jade Turner on an all-new episode of Face to Face. She took home Song of the Year at the recent Manitoba Country Music Awards, an award she also won in 2023. Turner says she's been writing songs since she was a little girl.
I used to move quite a bit with my mom, and I lived on many reserves in northern Manitoba. I think I moved 15 times, maybe more by the time I was in grade 9.
Wow.
So for me, songwriting, music was always there for me, and I was kind of the only thing I could lean on some of the times too. I was, always the new girl, so always getting bullied and stuff too, right? So I remember specifically one of the communities I was in, I went and sat literally in the bush. I ran there instead of going on the bus to school because I didn't want to go to school there anymore. And I did that for a whole week before the school phoned my mom and told on me.
Oh, no.
But I literally wrote songs all day.
And you can watch our entire interview with Jade in less than 2 minutes' time. She also performs her latest single, Marion, for us here in studio. That's coming up on Face to Face right here next. That's all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Tuesday. For news anytime, you can visit our website, aptnnews.ca. And Creason will be here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time with the first look at the day's news. I'm Dennis Ward. Marcy Miigwech, thanks for being with us. Have a great night.